and my sprite's on the bottom left, but the white midget, that has a funny story behind it.
Yep, slip of the tongue by Maya, and now we have a completely new sprite to play with. And looks like we're about ready to start, so as soon as the stream catches up, we'll get you filled in on the action.
Sounds good. Here we go. We should see a pretty standard start from these runners. The white magic shop has heal 3, harm, cure 3. So, heal 3 will be helpful for healing. Not much else on the offensive front though. The item shop, you're noticing the items look bog standard even though the prices are shuffled. That is by design. That is so these white mages will have something to hit enemies with. Armor is the same. They just have the cloth. Every point of absorb can matter, but sometimes I feel like it don't. And heal potions and tents are pretty cheap if they want to try safe scumming their way to Provoker early. As we're seeing SBQ reset, and now he is headed to Temple of Fiends.
Yeah, it looks like he's got new overworld sprites as well, so pretty sharp-looking sprite mods he's got.
Looks like a text mod as well. He's using FF3J setup for font and items and the like.
Alright, so it looks like Salty is trying to get some encounters real quick in order to make it to level 2.
He ought to make it beyond level 2 if he can kill a full pack of those imps. The experience and gold have both been amped up to speed this along, otherwise it would be a slog with just 4 white mages.
So it looks like in Temple of Fiends, just a pile of money and not much else to speak of. So Fuchsia Fantasy takes the early bridge after doing a reset, and SPQ should be right behind.
Yep, that is another feature of this run and of the new Randomizer versions. You do not have to defeat Garland to get the bridge to spawn. So Fuchsia found a couple gray imps mixed in with that pack of imp and noping out of it. Gonna check Matoya's now.
So it's nice to see early heal 3, one of the best spells in the game for the white mage, and probably all the healing that they're going to need, but they were really hoping to see some damage spells, and so far it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Giant pile of money in Matoya's cave, but still no progression item.
Yeah, at some point you have to decide whether or not you want to take the money and run or just nope out of it. Money is going to be very crucial in this seed, especially if something like Fade, Life 2, Cure 4 appears at level 4 or even level 5. Plus your absorb items later, getting your silver bracelets for your earth dives.
So in the early game, how much money would you say is worth it to keep rather than resetting?
It all depends on where I see crucial spells. If I see early exit and Fade, and decently priced houses, I can get by with about 5k, and I can usually get that on the way to Marsh if I decide to kill things. Exit at level 2, but not much else.
And the dreaded exit monster could appear. Fuchsia Fantasy buying exit in the base slot rather than picking up heal to kind of buffer that a little bit.
And Fuchsia going to grab gloves for everyone, which doubles their absorb from 1 to 2. It could come in handy depending on how much attack power these pirates are packing. Now, the scripts are not shuffled, so the worst we might have to deal with is a stun touch or a death touch or something, but no blaze, no trance, nothing like that.
The settings are such that the pirates could roll multiple hits as well, although it doesn't look like that's the case, so any of those situations are scary, but it looks like these guys are going to be pretty straightforward.
Now we have Salty slogging his way through some Grey Rurus as he gets into Provoca now. SBQ following. Oof, those pirates look to be hitting pretty hard. Fuchsia's lead white mage has almost had it, but over half the pirate party's down. Question from Chad, is one absorb really worth it? It can be, depending on what you're seeing. I don't know all the numbers personally. One of the devs may be able to tell you more. Or Edge could, I don't know.
So, Absorb generally does better against monsters that have multiple hits, so a gargoyle that's going to be punching you 4 times gets that Absorb subtracted off 4 times. So you really notice it when you don't have any Absorb, but as the seed progresses and you get ghosts that will punch you for over 100 damage, that one Absorb tends to be less and less valuable. So early game Absorb is good, late game lots of Absorb is good.
Yeah, the timer is kind of having an issue, but we'll be announcing SRL times as these players finish. As we're finding pretty cheap cabins. Better than nothing if the houses turn out to be expensive, as SBQ is going through the pirates and Salty just got done with them. Now, the Absorb will be getting better as the run goes on. These runners will all at least be checking Elfland for spells, and while they're at it, they can pick up copper bracelets for 4 Absorb a pop. And then before diving into Earth, Melman has silver bracelets. If you're really desperate and the money's flowing, gold bracelets are also available if the airship pops up, but that's a little out of the way. Well, if those things do have mini stats, then SBQ is going to have problems. But no, it's just a cosmetic edit. As Fuchsia is checking... Well, that's one quick and dirty way to fix it. Fuchsia's checking TOF.
So it looked like no way to start a timer at a given point, so we'll just start our own timer then.
That works. Yep, poor Minnie went splat. So Salty's checking Matoya now, and grabbing those piles of money right now could be smart, since you know Fade's going to be at least level 3. And due to the way the costs are arranged, it could be expensive, especially to get it on all 4 of your white mages.
Yeah, it's definitely something you have to do, but that's why that giant pile of money is going to come in handy.
That and grabbing it from the chests is much easier with no Fade than trying to grab it from enemies. And the only harm spell to pop up was just base level 1 harm in Caneria, so a pop grind is kind of out of the question at the moment. The Zombols can roll low, but they typically don't roll that low. SBQ's checking the dwarves now to see how lazy they are.
And he's also got a giant pack of tents too, so he doesn't have to take any encounter that he feels uncomfortable with.
Oh nice, it isn't just the text, a lot of the overworld. So defense and wizard, staff. The wizard staff can sell for a lot of money, and if there's a lot of mobs hitting just heavy, but with a low number of hits, that defense can be good. Especially if Mass Mutant comes into play and you end up having one white mage that is forced into the fighter role.
Be interesting to see if runners decide to sell the defense sword, or if they just err on the side of keeping both of those items for their utility.
Yeah, that is another thing Maya brought up. Confusion can be somewhat good in these low levels.
Yeah, Confusion has a much better chance of hitting early on. So level 4 shop, we see Harm 2 and Heal 2, and all of our runners have enough money to pick up as many of those as they want.
Yeah, that is actually the level 3 shop, but we're about to see the level 4 on SBQ's screen. There's Fade. There's Harm 4. Kinda sucks that they're both on the same level, but Fade is pretty cheap, so everyone will be able to get it. Depending on what we see for houses, he may be off to the races.
That's the big pickup, but a lot of our runners don't have enough levels to really take advantage of that. So with Pop Grind kind of out of the question, and the Fade charge is limited, we might see some people try to dive Marsh Cave at a really early level.
That would be very risky. If it were me, I'd probably head back to Canaria and just get a couple levels off of Popcorn Imps, because they haven't shown anything threatening, any kind of bad touch. They usually have low enough hit points for the hammers to take out in 1 or 2 hits, and with the extra experience this seed, you can usually get up to level 8 in a decent amount of time to get your first Fade charge. Exactly, Raven. Harm 4 is great for saving Fade charges when it comes up high like this, but it completely loses the point when it's sharing a level with Fade. So it looks like SBQ may be trying to grind on some of the lesser powerful enemies out here by Elfland. Finding arachnids have their poison touch from vanilla, so noping out of that. Yeah, it looks like Salty's trying to head in the direction of Marsh. He found a pretty good run in the encounter table to abuse. And Fuchsia's got the same idea as well. While SBQ is doing something interesting, he's using that wizard staff to confuse the wolves. If it would have worked out, he could have gotten a decent amount of experience off of them. And Salty Fry is going to be the first one in the marsh. Let's see if he goes top 4 first. Yep, looks like he's doing that. Some runners may also decide to just bite the bullet and go lower, but so far from what we're seeing, these first 2 are just going to check the top 4 and hope for some early gratification. The TNT is what they need right now, but to finish this seed, they also need either the ruby or the flutter. They usually don't. In vanilla, all you have to worry about is a dark touch and a high ambush rate. Also, Fuchsia did pick up Harm 2, which is helping out in there. My guess is SBQ is going to use regular Harm on Geists and stuff on the way, and then build up Harm 2 charges. Harm 2 can just barely do the job if Zombies row low HP. It also does thin the field to make it a lot easier or quicker to run. With Exit, I would say that's good enough to keep. Now this one I'm not sure about. Maybe trying to grind a couple extra levels off of Shadows or Zombies and Ghouls. Oh, and he hits the God Party, but he doesn't have any Harm 2 charges. Well, the benefit of what Fuchsia's doing, if she can walk out with the experience, is obviously walking out with the experience, and that's less far you have to grind to get to Fade. Yeah, it gets really bad in these seeds when your initial gamble turns out to be for naught. Yeah, Geists are pretty good experience if all you have is Harm. As long as they don't have a nasty touch attack. We saw a Silver Axe and a Pro Ring and not much else. Thick Edge is still here, he's just being quiet. Which is fine. So, Fuchsia's trying to get through some scum. It's gonna be difficult.
Just trying to load up a couple of streams in the background, but I didn't. I figured our audience didn't want to hear the noise of a mechanical keyboard going off.
So, Silver Shield for Fuchsia in the leftmost treasure room in the bottom floor. Running into a muck before the 2-pack of chests. Salty is saving and going in for another run through.
And the question is, nope, still no, just exit charges and harm charges. So Salty running out of magic resources, and I think maybe getting a house might have been the way to go.
Maybe. A little extra money. Looks like Fuchsia is skipping the wizard chest for the moment since no fade charges.
Oh no, that's a crown.
This isn't quite as bad as it could be though, since these runners do have access to fade. However, with such limited charges, if they low roll and Astos rolls high hit points...
Astos also has a spell list, so he could be very, very nasty.
That is true. He has a few options in vanilla, and pretty much everything that doesn't belong to Warmech or the Four Fiends in TOFR can be on him. That includes the Evil Man nuke.
At this point, any of the strong elemental attacks would be good enough to wipe the party.
Yeah, and typically these runners do not go out of their way to pick up like a fire and a ice.
So the interesting part about this seed is Fade is level 4 and will probably make the fight doable. The question is, how do you get that one level 4 charge? And it looks like Fuchsia's gonna just harm down this group, and I think this is probably either this or Geists are the best option.
Probably so. A little less experience with this group, but they're a little more flimsy than the Geists are, on average. So in the long run, it may actually be a bit quicker to just burn down the zombie ghoul groups.
Yeah, and I think just hanging out on this floor and fighting undead may be the way to go in this seed.
Even the shadows can be pretty flimsy.
Yeah, and they're the only groups that you can AoE down, and Salty picks up his crown.
Imagine he's living up to his name right now, finding that crown and realizing that he probably has to go through Astos at least. And did any of these runners check the wizard chest? I doubt it.
No, I don't think so, and there's a very, very slight chance that the wizard chest is required still, although with the 20+ chests available from the crown, it's not very likely.
True.
Worst case scenario, though, crown lock TNT in the basement of Marsh.
Or even just the wizards in the way. That could be worse for these runners right now. Well, unless they build up their fade charges. It looks like Fuchsia just needs one more level to hit a set of them. Diving back in the marsh to go after more undead, it looks like.
Yeah, and I definitely think this is the way to go.
Yeah, a lot of SBQ's sprites and background images are redone based off FF3. If the exact one isn't there, it's an approximation of the style at least. And oh my god, these scorpions are hitting for a ton.
3 hits, and again, that's where any absorb that you can get your hands on comes into play. Every hit, you subtract that absorb off, and maybe he would still be alive if he had some copper bracelets. Or something better than copper bracelets, although I think the silvers first show up in Melman.
Grandra, he is using custom character sprites, which change the look but don't actually affect the gameplay. He's still playing the same seed under the hood as everyone else.
Ooh, ghouls with multiple hits and paralysis. And this might not be so bad, being reduced to one active party member, but now with the double stun, there's no way you can finish this.
Oh, and Fuchsia's seeing the stun right now, too. Fuchsia does not have houses, so that kind of aborts the grind there. Looks to be headed back to town.
And has to, even if Fuchsia's hit the marker for getting fade charges with no house, can't go roll up on Astos.
Salty, on the other hand, did have houses on hand and is now fighting Astos with 1 fade charge per character, so that's 3 of them.
Astos leading off was slow too, and not fast enough.
That's one of his vanilla spells, just not the one he normally leads with. And it looks like he is pretty flimsy. 1 fade takes him out.
SPQ happily equipping that pro ring. The most defense found so far.
Yep, and noping out just to dive back in. This time headed the lower marsh.
Salty now with the crystal.
That definitely gives Salty a huge edge compared to our other runners on stream.
And SBQ about to dive the bottom part of Marsh, and he has had the absolute worst luck with the zombie ghoul formation, getting the worst end of the paralysis touch.
I would have been leery of burning that fade charge there like Fuchsia had, but of course we know that Astos can't even take 1 fade to the face without falling apart. Our runners don't know that though, except for Salty.
And now Fuchsia's turn to beat up the Imposter King. Meanwhile, Salty checking the chests in Astos Castle and finding a whole lot of nothing. SBQ, enjoy your crown. And he exits out of there real quick.
Ooh, a lot of poison on Fuchsia's group, but let's have the Purist make that just a minor annoyance. Salty's got that sweet herb and is headed back to Elfwyn Castle to give it to the prince.
So everybody well on their way to finishing the crown quests. SBQ still needs a few more levels. It looks like he's gonna take his... Looks like he cashed out his crown and then decided to dive back in for the rest of the chest.
Kind of a smart call. You definitely want to keep your progression item at all costs, especially since you've seen these things are not playing this time around. Fuchsia is off to go bring Matoya her eye. Looks like docking at Caneria. Interesting call.
Yeah, there's a lot of free tiles between Caneria, but I still don't think that's quite worth it. And the Mystic Key for Salty.
Exiting out and then probably gonna hop right back in. Yep. Going around the edge to raid the castle treasury.
And after this run, money should be fairly plentiful for all the runners, so being able to get the good equipment at the end shouldn't be a problem. Just a matter of doing it fast enough to be efficient.
It's also the matter that you picked up all your big ticket spells early. Barring Life or Life 2 showing up in the level 5 magic shop, you're really not going to be spending anything else on spells. Salty hitting Caneria Castle now, going to raid their treasury.
Always nice to have pro rings or pro rings and silvers at least going into the Earth Cave though. And there's a silver right there, so good news. That's one less he'll have to buy.
Yeah, as Artea says, absorb, absorb, absorb.
There's a lot of scary multi-hit monsters down in Earth Cave. You've got trolls on the bottom floor, the gargoyle packs on the top 2 floors, and then the wizards in the middle.
So we're seeing Salty take a trip to the lock chest in TOF. If it ain't here, and the TNT ain't in really lazy dwarfs, we're gonna see a return to Marsh. I'm gonna guess TNT was not in that lower left chest. His stream kind of stuttered on me.
Doesn't look like it.
Because I'd be noping out of there if I saw that. Oof, having bad luck trying to run from the gargoyles, and they hit pretty decently.
Well, we found a katana and a giant pile of gold, and not good enough.
And I don't think he ever checked the unlock chest the first time around, because now he's checking those.
Well, who will be relieved to find nothing?
Fuchsia is raiding the treasury. Gonna be happy to find that silver bracelet. Gonna be a little tilted. There's no progression item in there. And looks like he's gonna trash Garland with Fade just to get the free warp back to Caneria.
Not a bad idea if he feels like he could use the experience.
Well, also, he saved right outside of TOF, so he'd have had to walk all the way back to Caneria.
Yeah, definitely a little quicker. Now nothing but free tiles on the way. And time to go check to see how lazy are these dwarves. In the meantime, SBQ down to only 2 party members, so that fade charge should be coming with one more level, or one more group. Just a matter of can he survive a zombie ghoul group.
Yep, Fuchsia headed to TOF, about to find a fat lot of nothing, except maybe some money.
Yeah, runs into a giant full pack of imps and grams, so Salty gonna pick up the defense and the wizard staff again and check to see what exactly these dwarves have been hiding. And it looks like Fuchsia's basically following in Salty's footsteps.
Pile of money, silver shield, silver knife, coral sword.
Uh-oh.
Little couple of pocket change.
Oh no! It's
Oh, they gotta go to Marsh.
back to Marsh. And Salty has to kill Garland again.
Well, at least he's getting out his frustrations.
Knocking down the punching bag one more time on the way out.
So, yeah, this is what you've all been waiting for, the return to Marsh. We've got it.
Worst case scenario, here it is. And we'll see, do the Wizards have it, or is it crown locked?
How tilted do you figure these runners are going to be if it was the Wizards and not the crown lock?
I still feel like everybody else would have skipped the Wizards too. It just doesn't feel good.
I would have skipped them too, since I would have been nowhere near a fade charge.
It's one of those.
No way I'm going to try to beat them down with hammers.
It's one of those things where you feel like once you get there that everybody else also made the wrong choice, so you don't feel too bad about it.
This may also be good for some of those runners trying to catch up with their chaos points, because it is calculated based off of the winning time. The longer that is, the less the points are.
Yeah, that is true. A full chaos point is double time, so anybody that did not finish is going to have a lot more time to finish this time around than they did previously. SBQ takes out Astos with 1 fade, and because only 2 party members are alive, that is a lot of experience being concentrated.
This could be good, it could be risky. We'll see what it is for SBQ as Salty is checking Astos' castle. Fuchsia's headed there too.
And at 36 minutes, Tristal is one of the first to blow up the canal, if not the first.
Yeah, you're allowed to say that, Game Boy. As long as you're not telling the runners that.
And Salty taking a very interesting strategy here. Did not check the Astos castle chest, and there are some very, very good undead mobs here. Unfortunately, Harm and Harm 2 not getting the job done against these very, very beefy images. That should do it though, and that's a very, very nice chunk of experience. And even in vanilla, the undead grind here is pretty useful. Usually you see mummies, but whatever you can get is better than geists and zombies and ghouls.
True that. Fuchsia's headed to the bottom floor of Marsh to bathe in the salt.
And there we go. Salty is going to take a shot at these mummies, but use Fade. And this is a very, very nice chunk of experience to get. So, a grind spot that is normally not accessible early, but is working out very well for Salty. Level 11 already.
It's also possible he could want a little bit of bulk for the vampire or for Lich. Didn't see anything threatening out of Astos so far, and either one of those could have something pretty nasty.
Yep, and Salty has 9 houses left, so he should be good for the rest of the game. In the meantime, Fuchsia healing up and diving Marsh again.
Salty now in Marsh also. Fuchsia is checking the bottommost left chest first. And there is a path you can go to avoid mobs, but Fuchsia chooses wrong.
It's always tricky taking that winding path.
Especially with sprinting enabled.
And SBQ will be picking up the key. And starting his long journey to check chests. He can save a lot of time if he makes a gamble and checks Marsh first, but that's usually not the right play. We'll see what he decides.
It's also a gamble no runner likes taking. Usually you just check the Marsh Cave once and live with it.
Chest number 2, guarded by snakes. It has to be snakes.
I'm so sick of these heckin' snakes in this heckin' Marsh Cave, and Fuchsia finds the TNT.
Well, I guess you can blow them up with dynamite. Fuchsia is going to continue checking the chests, and, I mean, you never know. Oh, or is Fuchsia just out of exit charges? Looks like walking the TNT out, not quite sure what's going on here. In keeping track of the other runners, Tristal is making a play on Ice Cave right now.
With Fade, it is not that dangerous a call to me. Ooh, here come them stun touch ghouls for Fuchsia. Gotta power through them now.
Salty helping himself to that dragon sword.
And Salty chooses to deal with wizards to get his TNT.
Oh, with Fade, not so scary.
Salty noping out immediately with an exit charge. And gonna go tell those dwarves what's on his mind.
And just the difference between Fuchsia and Salty showing you how beneficial exit is to the runners. Fuchsia is still in Marsh Cave even though going there first, and Salty walking out with an extra level or two on top of Fuchsia.
Yeah, that image and mummy grind in Astos' castle paying dividends.
SBQ, meanwhile, checking out the Canaria treasury. Won't be happy with what he finds.
Gonna be so many "are you kidding me's."
And Ice Cave looking like an incredibly unfriendly place. Tristal is down to a single white mage versus 3 other mages.
That ain't good, and SBQ is running to TLF to find nothing but money. We'll see if he just... No? Well, he saved about halfway, so it would still save him time to pound on Garland to get his frustrations out.
Oh no, Mage is no crack, so anybody that picks Ice Cave is not going to have a fun time.
Oh no. Well, the good thing is, Go mode is limited by 2 items. The chances of both of them being in Marsh Cave are fairly slim.
So it looks like Salty will be the first of our featured runners to escape the inner sea. we'll see where Salty decides to go immediately after this. Earth Cave is open without requiring canoe. But there's
and as you've shown the power of exit.
Yeah, so that seems like an appealing play, but there's also there's ordeals and there's volcano as well.
Those in ice, if one of our runners is foolish enough to go there, all require the extra step of getting the canoe, which is another thing to consider if you want to make an early earth dive.
Dristle taking another wipe to mages with crack. The mage formation is particularly bad because of their extreme bias towards ambushes. They are second only to Shadows and tied with Warmech for their ambush rate. So at the levels our runners are at right now, they will almost certainly be attacked first.
Plus they show up in packs.
But there's life at level 5, and all that money is going to be put to good use.
And selling that flame sword and that dragon sword. And the wizard staff. Keeping the defense, though. And silver bracelets are cheap.
So, no reason why everyone in the party shouldn't have one. And in fact, Salty is pretty well set on gear with gloves and cap for everyone.
Alright, Salty headed to Crescent now to go get the canoe and then figure out his next move, not falling for the early earth dive strategy.
And SBQ, see where he heads from here. Back to Marsh, feels bad.
Yep. Early Earth does have its cons as well. All the chests are pretty well spread out, and a couple of them are just flat out of the way. Whereas with some of the other areas, the chests are much better clustered.
And speaking of multiple hits, those trolls do not mess around, KOing one of those white mages. Salty resetting on Peds, resetting on Giants. Looks like he doesn't care about experience at this point anymore. He just wants to get to town.
Fuchsia grabbing life all around.
And sailing away from Melman, so almost certainly going to be checking the a canoe blocked location. The question is, which one will it be?
And Salty skipping the level 6 magic shop, which is probably smart. Doesn't even have a level 5 charge yet, and isn't anticipating getting the levels to even get one level 6 charge.
Yeah,
and you already have life.
Yeah, very likely they won't finish the game before the... or they will finish the game before getting a level 6 charge. Tristle running into another pack of mages.
And Salty's about to join Tristle in having a really bad day.
Oh, rough news. But if this has the floater, this is definitely a defensible decision. We'll see how that turns out. So mages following up Crack with Cremate.
Oh boy. Frying pan meet fire. Literally.
Yep, and Tristle is cooked. So 5 more chests to check, including the incentive chest for Tristle. And he has to take another wipe and another reset.
As bad as those enemies are, even if the ruby ends up somewhere else, even bottom of volcano at this rate, it may still end up being the faster call. You have exit. You're in most or most of these runners are going to be in no danger of running out of charges, so you don't even have to beat down carry to get the warp that way.
That is true, and with 30 chests, there's a very, very good chance that you are going to find some sort of progression item in there. Probably plays better off when you're looking for crown, slab, and floater, but it's still pretty good for looking for just one item.
Absolutely, and the armory is one of the larger clusters of chests in the game, if not the largest.
Yeah, the most efficient as far as checking chests per time, just that lower left corner of the second floor. Looks like...
Lemon, that is kind of true in normal circumstances, but your only other spell that you could really use is Harm 2 at 3rd level. Your Fade charges share a spell level with your Harm 4 charges, so really there's not much efficiency to be gained going into a undead heavy place compared to some place where you can just blast away with Fade.
So Salty did a little dance in front of the stairwell, and it looked like he was trying to RNG manipulate away an encounter, and I wonder if he tried to dodge the mages because of how potentially bad they are, or Frostwolf, Frost Giant. I have to ask after the race is over.
Either of those is a viable encounter to get rid of. The Frost Giant Frostwolf is unrunnable, which means you're going to be forced to burn a Fade charge or two, depending on how beefy that giant is, or how badly your Fades hit the wolves.
SPQ continuing to check Marsh and finds the Opal bracelet, and those scorpions that were terrifying before are now laughable. Sure, go ahead, hit me twice. It's only 2 damage.
That could be a sleeper pick, depending on where he decides to go to look for his go mode item.
Well, down goes Salty. Now he knows.
Looks like he may decide to just skip that one chest.
Yeah, and we know that won't be punished. In the meantime, Fuchsia, agreeing with Kitsune in chat, it's Ordeals time. So a fun route divergence, and we'll see how that pays off.
Like Ice, Ordeals takes a little longer than usual with the White Mage group. You're lacking Warp, and these teleporters are shuffled.
Ooh, Group 8.
Oh!
And you gotta take this fight. But it'll be good experience if they get out alive.
That is true. Looks like it's taken more than one Fade to knock these things down. Now it's taken 3 for that bottom one.
Alright, Fuchsia chooses correctly and runs into a pack of sorcerers who, thanks to the attack effect shuffle, are significantly less deadly.
Although they do have access to his skill, which could still be something like Blaze.
Ooh, very, very clean run through Ordeals, so Fuchsia, if there is a progression item in here, would be making up a lot of time on the other runners that didn't go here.
Absolutely. Looks like Fuchsia found that one random teleporter in there that jumps you ahead a bunch of rooms, too.
Level 13 across the board. Also finding the mummy groups to be quite nice.
And perhaps most importantly, has life charges to play with.
Ooh, Nightmares have Squint, but I think the pro ring's on the person in the lead slot, so bit of good fortune that the targeting worked out. Also finds a Throat Cape.
That'll help for more absorb. Oh, needs to equip those other silver bracelets. That could have been disaster.
No harm. SBQ, meanwhile, will be dropping off the TNT, and we'll see where he decides to go.
And our incentivized item is apparently guarded by some Argoyles.
Argoyles with Trance, and it looks like after a couple run failures... Oh, they know Cure 4 as well. So, it looks like the hedging the bets and throwing a fade out will pay off. The lead party member's still not paralyzed. And there we go. Good play by Fuchsia. And we'll get out of this dire situation unharmed.
Absolutely lucky.
We have a ruby! So that's it!
Yep, just the one zombie need to go through, and honestly could have exited. I wonder why she hasn't been exiting other places. Maybe for the experience?
So we have our first runner in go mode right now. Fuchsia finding the ruby. Floater still a better choice as far as time efficiency goes, but either one will let you finish the game, and so there's no sense in looking for the other once you found one.
That is true. Salty's still struggling through ice.
And it would probably feel terrible to struggle through ice all of this time only to find the tail or the adamant. So, best case scenario for everyone that's gone to the ice is the floater. And
yeah, even the Masmune doesn't help him because you already have copious amounts of fade charges.
Salty taking a death and decides to RNG manip this, so ice has been nearly as punishing as vanilla so far, and that's no good. Oh, and they're getting the evil eye from those frosties as well. They know stare, and that's non-elemental single target damage, so that'll hurt no matter what level you're at.
That is true. The ruby has been found, so the floater could well be ruby locked. In which case, Salty and those others checking ice are really going to be hating themselves once this finishes.
Yeah, if this is a ruby locked floater, then there really is no way through this other than ordeals. The likelihood of that would be less given the fact that there are 16 chests you can get to in Earth Unlocked and 30 in Volcano. Still a bit of a rough situation to deal with.
SPQ looks to be trying to get certain encounters to grind up in Melman.
Yeah, and this always feels bad because other than the Green Ogre group in Melman, there isn't anything that is very efficient for grinding.
Yeah, 7 Geists or so isn't the worst thing, but yeah, there are much better options at this stage.
Yeah, especially with the settings the way they are, the popcorn mobs aren't worth as much when it's 4x plus 100 as opposed to a full 500 boost. So Fuchsia getting dunked by the bulls, and my guess is, given that no one has finished yet, that the chests in Earth on the way down to the vampire do not contain anything. Because somebody usually does it.
Pack of Wizards so much less threatening when you have Fate.
Wraiths rolling multiple hits and just clobbering mages. I see Tristal's about to take another wipe in ice, and just... it feels like you're committed to this course of action, but would you ever just decide to leave and say, I'm not making it through here?
With this group, yeah. Ordeals is just so much safer to try to go through. You may be thinking you're gonna be cute and try to lap a few people by taking the harder path instead and having it pay off, but this time around it just looks like it ain't gonna.
I mean, it seems like on paper that Ice wouldn't be a bad play with 4 White Mages, but when you've only got a limited amount of Fade charges and Harm 2 is your strongest harm spell, it just, it may not be the play, and these, just the Wraiths are just taking apart parties.
Yeah, Lemon, if the choices were just Ice and Ordeals, I'd agree that Ordeals is the call, but typically with this spell setup, I would have been led to go an early Earth. Then I might have gone Ordeals.
So, sounds like Will Bloodworth has made it into Earth Basement 4, and Sforzando and Quicklin are in Basement 3, so we'll see if we can't get their feet up real quick before they get to the end.
That would be real nice for Will to get a win. I know he's been having a rough time lately. Why is Fuchsia not exiting? That is something we're definitely gonna have to ask and interview afterwards, because there's been multiple times they could just exited out of the dungeon, and instead they're trying to walk it out. We have our first dot done. Will Bloodworth has finished with a SRL time of 1 hour, 1 minute, 15 seconds. And just like that, he wipes away his chaos point.
GG to Will. We'll see if we can get him in Discord.
Sounds like he's coming as Fuchsia is continuing to... I don't get what they're doing without using the exit.
And my only thought is they forgot they had it.
Yo, Will, GG.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, how the hell did I do that?
So that's the question. How did you do that? Where did you end up going first?
I got harms on everybody. I actually had to restart because I bought all my equipment and spells, trucked it up to Temple of Fiends. I didn't have enough money to save at the inn. Got wiped there. Had to re-enter all my party. So I changed it up. Just got harm and heal 3 on 2 characters. And then I went Matoya's, came back, went back for Topher, went to Provoke. I got the ship, and essentially did the typical route I normally do. Got all the way to Marsh, cleared that, and took the crown back. Did that quest, cleared all the crown chests out. Got that oh damn moment where I realized, oh, Crown Lock Marsh, the fan favorite seed. So I trucked it down there immediately. Got that. Was glad that I checked the 3rd chest because that was the opal bracelet. I think that helped me survive a lot of garbage. And went right to Earth and cleared that. I saw no reason not to with exit and fade and enough charges on everything. I fought, what was it, maybe one Zombo fight that got me from, I think, level 2 or 3 to 8 on 3 of my characters. So that was my grind right there, just one fight. And I made the rest of the way, I just picked up where I could, picked up XP where I could, and just managed to make it through the rest of the seed. I'm surprised nobody else got there before I did, because this is pretty much the route I always take.
Well, it paid off for you, as unfortunately we have our first forfeit. Tristal giving up.
Oh.
Whole bunch of can't run. Yeah, I'd probably be giving up at that point too.
Oh boy. Glad I didn't have to go there.
Oh yeah, mages with crack and cremate.
Oh, no thanks. I'm good. And there's Forzando coming in.
Yep, but Lich had a blaze. That
Ooh, yes,
could
he
have been nasty.
Yes. RNG gods were with me on 3 out of 4. Otherwise, I would have had to go round 2, because it took 3 fade casts to kill him.
Yeah, so you definitely needed your levels.
Yep.
Let's see if we can get him in here.
Whew.
Yep, there he is. GG's Forzando.
GG, Will. That's glad to see you got one.
Me too, man. Been waiting long enough.
But I think this was just the right seed for it too. I mean, it had just the right amount of trolliness.
Yeah. That's where I thrive.
So, quick question in chat. Sprite difference with Fuchsia. Fuchsia is using a base ROM hack that I actually did the graphics on, which replaces all the light warriors with female counterparts, and is otherwise compatible with the randomizer, so it is legal to use for this.
They're really cool.
And I mean, I can tell you, the 3 minutes that separate us are probably wipes to trolls.
Oh god. Sure. Yeah, those trolls were hitting like Mack trucks, man. They were very brutal. I managed to escape them.
We have another dot done. Quicklit finishing in 105.39.
Gee. Yeah, so I heard Ice Cave was a crack house today.
Absolutely. Crack and cremate mages. The white Ds were pretty nasty. And oh my god, the Ice Cave runners are really going to be feeling bad.
Oh.
It was tail.
Oh. Rip.
So, all that time in there.
We'll have to let Tristal know that the floater was in the Earth Cave, and that, well, I think I told him Ruby's ordeals.
Alright.
I think Tristal was the one who said last race he sees no reason not to go Earth first if you've got the spells for it, the levels for it. Clearing Earth because you already have to go there anyway, and that's literally what I did.
Was the floater in Earth?
Yes, floater was on. It was in the first chest on floor 3.
And the Ruby was in ordeals.
Yeah, that's what I found.
Good on you. Looks like Ruby was the smart call this time around, but if more people would have went Earth first.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was so trolly though, with the crown and the triple dip into Mars and everything. It was crazy.
The triple dip. Yeah, that's right. Because first was
great.
Floors. Yeah. I only went there twice, and I felt salty about it. I had an inclination to go there as a gamble first before I went to the Astos Castle or any of the other crown chests, just to throw the dice. But had I done that, I'd have come in like a 52, 53 minute seed, and I'm happy with where I finished anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I think is the people running ice, especially Tristal, even with an Earth First philosophy, was to try to get cute and go against the grain, the common wisdom.
Mm-hmm. I've had that bite me in the backside more times than it's helped me. Maybe I got gun shy and learned my lesson, but played it straight and paid off. I think it was probably just my RNG luck with running away from fights. Like, I got enough of those damn werewolf, grey wolf ambushes and smacked around by trolls, but when I needed to run away, eventually I was able to.
Yeah, think that's the difference between you and I, is I was not able to run away when I needed to.
No. What were you leveled at?
14 and 12.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was not far off from you there. I think I was right around the same range. I was gonna say a little bit, maybe I had a little bit more leveling to give my luck stats a little more love, which might have given me better run luck, but it seems like they should have been just about equivalent. So RNG it is.
Yeah, a lot of seeds trying a cute little counter gamble will win it for you. This wasn't one of them.
It's like, is SB running a like a texture modification on his?
Yeah, he's running FF3J graphics where he can.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Like the mountains look like FF3.
Yeah, the mountains, the cave entrances, the airship. The sprites probably would be if he wasn't running 4 white midgets.
For white, I don't know, is that going to become a meme now? For white midgets?
It already is.
It just might, as Fuchsia is at LICH.
GG Fuchsia. Ending surviving with any Blaze here. Nope, doesn't look like Blaze is coming out to play yet. Nope. Fuchsia will never know.
So our first featured runner to finish at a time of 1:10:37.
That was definitely my favorite seed so far of this round.
Me too. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it's one of mine too.
Well, it wasn't just get fade, find floater, you know. You know, TNT is either in marsh right away or whatever.
Yeah, it really was just trolly enough for me to benefit. Because if this had been an execution party where it was just level 1 fade, run through the game, grab an early floater, early ruby, like half this field could have whooped the crap out of me.
I mean, I was womping on sharks and ogres to try and get enough levels to actually be able to cast Harm 2, just so I could go up to POP, so I could get enough levels to cast Fate.
I killed Zombles with Harm 1.
I never even bought it, and I regretted it afterwards, thinking, and the Zombles didn't have much HP, so it actually would have worked out pretty well. But
correct. Yeah, that's my advice is always, if you have any level of harm, at least try POP. And if POP is too brutal, just south of there, you can run into Geist. And the funny thing is, Geists this seed were tougher than the Zombies.
GG Fuchsia. The burning question: why did you not exit?
I just totally forgot. I don't know what the hell happened to me. I picked up exit and I just forget I have it. I could have won, maybe.
did you walk out of Earth Cave?
I walked out of Earth Cave, I walked out of Mars. Oh. I didn't know until this war lit. I saw the exit and I was like, what the crap?
Oh, that's rough.
If Fuchsia, are you in the same room as your microphone? We can barely hear you.
Oh, yeah, I had that.
Oh, okay. Not really, but we can make you out.
Oh, if I remembered to exit, I probably would be better. This round just tilts me.
You could have.
Oh, God.
This is a Tiltorama seed.
You could have even.
The round just tilts me.
That's what I mean to say. Is the flag set itself is it's just trolly as all get out.
You could have either won it, or you could at least give Will a run for his money.
Wait, did you walk out after Vampire?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would have put you neck and neck with me.
And I walked out of Marsh as well.
Oh.
Pretty bad ambush right there.
That's horrible.
Considering you didn't leverage your exit spell this seed, your time is damn good. You executed very well, exit aside, to come up that time.
It's just those things. A would never forget it, but I just practiced so much and just kind of I don't know what happened. I mean, I just picked it up and provoked it, and just I guess I got filed in the way and said crap for whatever reason.
So we have SBQ picking up his rod, Salty working their way through ordeals, and Zarnax is now on in lower left, working through one of the lower earth floors by the look of it.
Look at that yummy group 8 fight he's in right now. The Ooze Arachnid group.
Salty finding his ruby, and gonna be really salty when he figures out where the floater was.
Oh.
That's the other thing. The floater was in early Earth, 3rd floor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just one of those things I learned. If you've got fade and exit at any point that's castable, go check the Earth Cave.
Yeah, you're go mode to kill a vampire at that point. If you've got level 7, you're good to go. Arte would probably go in there level 4.
And Zarnax downing Lich with a time of 1:15:28.
Gee.
So it seemed to me one of the trickier things in this seed was trying to find out once you picked up Crown, how to get those fade charges available. So Peninsula Power seemed to be a good move, as well as going for the zombie ghoul group. I don't know, for some reason Geist seemed to be really tanky this seed.
They were unbelievable, and they could hit too. If you were unarmed, if you had no armor on, they were hitting pretty hard and for multiple hits. So, like I said, they were worse than the zombies.
Did you guys check the last chest in Marsh, or did you exit as soon as you got TNT?
Oh, I picked up Opal Bracelet. I was pretty happy.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
I didn't come that far not to full clear by a mere 1 chest, knowing it might be what I need.
GG Zarnax.
Thank you very much.
So, what was your strategy to get through this seed?
To get through the seed, well, once I found Fade, it was to get enough levels to have a charge of that, and then just plow through. I don't know if I want to share my strategy for the round, because then it might not work. But I will. I don't care. I don't think many people will follow suit. My plan right now is to get in as many races as I can, and hope at least one of them that the floater is in the 1st floor volcano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a similar plan that I just abandoned, where I figured the same thing. Like if TNT was top of Marsh, I was gonna go bottom Marsh no matter what. I abandoned that. Because playing statistically is gonna get me more success.
Yeah. Did anybody in here go into the volcano at all?
I haven't seen it yet.
Someone did, but I don't think they finished yet.
Okay. Interesting. It was actually pretty loaded, just not for this goal. It had Power Gauntlet, Thor's Hammer, Zeus Gauntlet, and the Slab.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty big haul to Chaos.
Yeah.
No doubt. Like either the Thor Hammer or the Zeus Gauntlet would have been fantastic going down to the bottom of Marsh for those wizards if you didn't have Fade, but you had Fade, so it didn't really matter.
Yep. And you also had to... Oh, I guess you could you had the crown before you had to fight the wizards. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, no. Depending on what route you took, I fought the wizards first. I always pick up the top right chest last. I go down, right, up.
Yeah.
A lot of people go
Right.
right, down, left.
I usually do, but I didn't have a fade charge yet.
So
I didn't
we're
have any-
rotating in first C624, who is hitting ordeals right now. One good thing I'm noticing about this race is only one forfeit so far. I'm guessing the fact that the top finish was just over an hour is helping with that.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of people are gonna they probably thought they were gonna have some very terrible chaos point scores after the end of this race, but when first place comes in, run an hour, it means that you're not gonna be that bad if you finish in an hour 15.
Exactly.
Yeah, compared to 30-minute first place finish, and you're stuck at 45.
Yeah, it's an immediate 0.5, whereas 0.5 means a half hour extra on your run in this.
Yep. What was in Ice Cave?
Tail.
Death.
Jeez.
Mages would crack and cremate. White dragons were nasty too, and you went through all that hell for the grand prize of a tail.
Mm-hmm.
Glad I didn't touch that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Zardia, you you would have hated this. The viewers are loving it so far, though. We had crown locked TNT and double to triple dips in Marsh.
Yeah, that was a real treat.
And SPQ comes in 6th place with a time of 1:20.23.
Good job.
Well, yeah. Thanks for the interview. Thanks for restreaming, everybody, and good luck in the rest of the round.
Thanks.
Yep.
Go
Alright.
Team Thief.
See you around, Zarnex.
And now we have SBQ. GG.
Hello, thank you. That was interesting.
Yep, I see you got the airship, so did you go Earth first, or?
Wait, was I the only one to get the airship?
No, I got it.
Oh, okay. I got the airship, yeah, I went Earth first, yeah. I usually go Earth first in this seed, or in this, stage.
If you have
were
a
to-
single exit
Practical.
fade, there's never a reason not to go Earth.
Yeah, that's true.
You were the first featured runner to get it.
Oh, okay.
Sweet airship graphics, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh, thanks.
love that FF3 layout you got.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Floater was in the very first chest on the 3rd floor of Earth. So, as you're walking to the right, there's that room off to the side. Go in there, that's where Floater was. What was that? Yeah, I guess. I mean, considering you were already going Earth anyway to kill the vampire. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my thinking for sure.
You also
You're
would've-
almost,
Go
you're
ahead.
almost inaudible, Fuchsia.
Yeah. He's saying that he's worried about the Earth elementals. What's interesting is if anybody didn't go there on the 2nd floor in the top right room, you would have found Masa. So I was able to one-shot Earth with an under-leveled white mage with Masa. So no matter what, you were good.
Good night.
Yeah, the Mazified was interesting, but I never actually used it. I equipped it for the Lich fight, but then just faded him to death.
Mhm. Yeah, I didn't think to attack him with. At that point, it's like I actually had IRC open, which I rarely do in the middle of a race. I had her pulled up, and I was like, "Nobody's not done yet. Are you kidding me?" So I was just in the zone trying to make sure I got these fade charges off right and did fat finger inputs, and I didn't think to to swing at Lich with Masa.
Yeah, I don't know. Fade does enough damage, and Lich is so weak.
Mhm.
I don't know if Mouser was really necessary for him.
I think you had at that point I was swinging for for about 3 hits. So I think 3 hits with Masa would have been enough to do like 200 plus damage pretty consistently.
Okay.
So that's more reliable than a fade. So it would have been a better move. But,
Right. So with several Fade charges, you're probably okay.
yeah, no doubt. With that Blaze was cringe-inducing.
Wait, he had Blaze?
Yeah, I got hit with it.
Oh,
First-
I killed
yeah.
him round 1.
Right off the bat, Blaze lost one of my characters with like a 200 and something hit, left the other 3 with double-digit HP, and the remaining 3 got their Fade charges off, and it was just enough to kill.
Wow. I guess I never saw that.
Yeah. The ones I've watched, I haven't seen anybody get hit by it, other than myself, obviously. Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant go to town on him.
I didn't find the Bulls too bad, but the Trolls wrecked me.
Oh, they were so bad. Balti got ZaRNG'd to death.
I don't know. I don't think Danny anyone was challenging.
I don't know, I had 2 down. It didn't seem too bad.
Well, you ran
No,
2
no.
in the whole game?
1 died early, so I went 3-man, and then I was trying to keep 3 alive for a bit, but in an otherwise successful run-in somewhere, my a second one went down, so I just left him down.
Yeah. Mine. I had one of my 4 went down when I took my Harm 1 spell to the Peninsula Power and fought the Zombies. And I was like, maybe I'll 3-man this, but I rezzed the 4th one for the pirate fight, and then I just thought, you know what? Let's just keep him alive for cannon fodder if need be.
Were you able to kill a double with harm?
It took either 3 or 4 charges of it, but yes.
Power pistol was not. I got level 5.
Something I like to advise people to try if you have a weak harm spell like Harm or Harm 2, and if you either you don't want to zombie bolt or zombie gamble, or they're just too hard to kill, you can go just south of there and fight Geists. So you just run around until you get a Geist fight, and then those are decent XP for the level. If they show up early in the power cycle, you can power cycle and kill those ad nauseum until you got what you need to move forward.
They're kind of beefy this
Yeah, that's what I found. I tried them, I think, once, and it didn't feel worth it.
It was crazy. I've never seen Geist that tough before. And I run 500% seeds all the time. That was crazy.
Yeah, overall, I found it difficult to find a good grind spot early on. I just kind of gradually worked my way up to like 1 Fade charge, I think. Maybe not even. No, I don't even think I had 1 Fade charge, and I decided to tackle Marsh. Then I just grinded in Marsh a bit against like shadows. But I tried Peninsula of Power, and that was a waste.
Did you run into a lot of non-zombie encounters?
Yeah.
I didn't power cycle when I got there. I tented at the very edge of it and ran in a circle. I think it was either my first fight or my second fight with zombies. So
The very first encounter after a power cycle was zombies.
oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So no matter what I would have done, I would have gotten a zombie fight.
I mean, it
I
took
thought I
me, like,
tried that.
3 tries before I got one without trolls, but...
You get the free encounter, the examples are free encounter. Transactions are also free.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I was just saying, I was pretty sure examples were free encounter when I saw transactions.
Yeah, because those will be a group 3, yeah. Or group, yeah.
The group 1 and group 3.
Zombies are right, but the Kazokus are group 3 on the sea.
So we have Salty Fry about to get the LICH. First seas entering Earth.
Overcome that terrible RNG. Yeah, going down that last time, getting that bullfight. We definitely weren't hurting for money in this seed. Pretty abundant.
Oh, that one chest in Matoya's Cave was enough money for the entire run.
Practically, yeah. I got life on all 4 characters, never cast it once.
I think I had 2 once because of some trolls.
I just used it to revive my meat shields before Lich.
Sure, that's a good idea.
Yeah, those trolls were hitting like trucks. And another GG Salty Fry finishing with a time of 1:30.42.
GG Salty.
GG salty, yeah.
First sea is only a couple floors away. Is first sea our last runner? Is anybody else still running at this point?
Just first C. Sticking it out to the end.
Good. Well, finish here, it's not even 0.5, 0.6. It's still very much worth keeping in it.
Yeah, and he's already beat the vampires, so just LICH to come. That shouldn't take more than 5 minutes.
Provided no shenanigans and I want a commentator curse.
Just keep those trolls away.
That's it. He's already saying in chat he's hyped for stage 3.
Yeah, that should be a fun stage.
That'll be interesting. It's going to be similar to this, where it's a bit of a guessing game, because you're looking for a proverbial needle in a haystack of 220 plus chests, that one opal bracelet.
GG Salty.
Thank you.
So that ice cave, huh? Yikes.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was paying attention to the battle script when I was farming in Marsh Cave, so I tried to have a pretty good idea going in there, trying to avoid wizards and frost giants, but that kind of backfired as I kept getting wrecked by wraiths instead.
Yeah, the wraiths rolled pretty hard, and the mages with crack and the high ambush rate was brutal too.
Yeah, I still don't really regret going in there, because, like, from my perspective, like, I figured I wanted to go the road less traveled most likely by most people, because I figured that was my best bet to win. Figuring that most other people would probably go more than likely to ordeals, I figured I'd try the much harder play and hope that maybe it would pay off, and if that happened, then maybe I could pull out a win out of nowhere. But obviously it didn't even come close, but I'd already had a decent finish in this round, so finishing this far behind didn't really matter.
Well, if you really want to live up to your name, the floater would have actually been on the most direct path. It was in Earth Cave, floor 3, first chest.
Wow, really? Hey, that's interesting.
After all of my poor execution, my fat fingering, and my need to restart the entire seed after wiping in the Temple of Fiends the first time, it was getting that floater in Earth that probably got it for me.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. GG.
Thank you.
There's one of those trolls, but First C manages to get by, and the Lich fight will be coming up after these spiders.
So First C going in the Lich, a few fades, and should be done pretty soon. There's the dot done. We're finished with this race at 1:34:34.
So for a Fade being available at level 4, still a pretty challenging seed overall.
Really changes things when you have to ration those charges a bit as opposed to having them early available at level 1 or 2.
I don't know. Did anyone die volcano?
Zarnax did.
It would have been loaded for a regular goal, but not for this.
And we'll get First C in here shortly before we wrap things up here.
So this seed turned out to be pretty interesting. The direct path was the right choice, and yet it still wasn't blistering fast.
Yeah, and while we have a moment, let me just thank Randomania for letting us use their channel on short notice, and thanks to Tara for also joining me on commentary on short notice.
Not a problem. I was pretty salty after losing a Final Fantasy 1 PSP run to Flare from Lich 2, or rather Nuke if you just play this version.
Boy.
Yeah, neither my Knight or my Ninja crit, and I had a bad day.
And coming up tomorrow, there are 2 races, one at 12 p.m. One at 12 p.m. and one at 10 p.m., both of those times Eastern. One of them will be, the 10 p.m. one is scheduled to be on this channel, so if you liked what you saw, throw a follow and come by tomorrow night. And we are just waiting for First C to join us.
And before I forget, I promised A-Dog I would give him full credit for him wishing me well before the race, being the deciding factor in me winning it, so I'm going to throw that out there.
So, well, the other burning question is, how does it feel to be a member of the Zero Club, at least for this stage?
Finally, man. Finally. It feels really good. I feel like I've done a lot of grinding at the game, not grinding in game, to get to a point where I'm fully capable of actually executing at an acceptable level and not having to rely on gambits and luck and silly stuff or really, really super trolly seeds. This one was kind of trolly, but it wasn't terrible.
And
You're going to be pulling...
we're joined by First C right now. Sorry for the interrupt. GG, First C.
Yep.
Hang on 1 second, guys. I need to get my headphones, otherwise I'm going to get feedback.
Okay.
But yeah, well, you're gonna pull an Artea and getting any more of these, or you're just gonna say, you know what, I got the 0-0, I'm done with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, unless I get super, super bored, I'm not playing the meta game of preventing people from getting lower scores. Like, besides, I'm not really equipped to do that anyway. I'm not a consistently fast runner, so it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
I hear you there. So, GG first.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
So, judging by your comment in IRC, you saw how nasty Ice Cave was as well.
Yeah, I went to Ice Cave and why am I getting echo?
You might. Do you have your chat? Do you have the room open?
Oh, that's why. I got the Randomizer open. Alright, close that. Sorry about that. Yeah, I went to Ice Cave pretty early-ish and realized that, dang, everything there was about kill y'all. I think I killed the eye by I confused them, and because I had no more fade charges left just before I got to him, and that was fun. Just kind of let him kill himself.
Bit rough, but you managed to finish. Did you go? I guess you went to Ordeals afterwards.
Yeah, I went to Ordeals afterwards. I figured with everybody finishing quickly enough, I was trying to figure out the next logical spot. I'm like, well, Ordeals is probably the easiest.
Yeah, there was Floater was on the way down to Vampire on the 3rd floor, and Ruby was in Ordeals, so that pretty much lined up with your time assessment there.
Yeah, it was, but finally finished one, so yay me.
So GG.
Yay, definitely.
And not a bad one to finish either. The chaos points a little bit more limited, with first place coming in around 50-minute mark. So GG, and good job hanging in there on a bit of a rough and challenging seed.
Yeah, thank you. Good job, Will. I mean, I saw your time. I saw you finish early, and I was like, no, first I was like, dang. I said his routing must have been spot on.
Floater was in the 3rd floor of Earth, so I went right there after I got through the canal and went to Melman and saved, and got life spells. So I was like, all right, I'm equipped to take this on. I'm just gonna clear the first 3 floors, kill Vampire, come out, and if I don't have Floater or Ruby at that point, then we'll figure out where we're going next. For the time being, we're good. And when I found Floater, I'm like, oh boy, looks like somebody's going to be finishing ahead of me, because I know someone out of all of these runners went to Earth first and got them. But apparently not. I mean, there were only a few who did.
Yeah, I didn't. I chose not to go to Earth, even though I had the levels to be able to do it. I just didn't figure something was going to be there. I didn't figure it was worth the time investment.
It was a gamble not to gamble for me, but I made the decision, just go the traditional route that I had planned out, and it worked.
Good job. Good job to everybody else too. Fuchsia, Quicklet, Salt, SB.
Good on you for finishing up too, and it's not even going to be that bad of a chaos point for the round either. It's going to be like somewhere between 5.5 and 0.6. So I mean, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
So with the last runner finishing up right now, that about wraps things up. Anything anyone else wants to say before we finish the stream here?
I think I would even like this seed, even with the troll marsh cave.
Oh gosh, I couldn't believe it was a crown locked TNT.
Nothing a last chest.
Yeah, thankfully Fade was accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I saw the crown there, I knew I was going to have to grind up and get some Fade charges in order to kill Astos. I was not going to hammer him to death.
And only one forfeit in this, which is pretty good for one of these.
Normally you see at least like 30%. I'm usually one of them.
Alright, well that wraps up this Stage 2 race. Again, GG to Will for finishing and joining the 0 Point Club. And if you're interested in further randomizer action tonight on this channel, Zelda 1 randomizer will be continuing. The tournament will continue in about an hour, so stay tuned and keep an eye out. Thanks again to Game Boy F9 for helping out with the stream setup today. It's a little bit short notice, but Randomania staff has been pretty helpful in getting us some airtime so far, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you stopping by. If you liked what you saw, give us a follow, and make sure to follow all the runners you saw today too. They do a lot of these streams, and I'm sure they would love if you showed some support in their chat as well. Thanks again. Have a good night. Thank you for watching.
Let's say la bon temps roulette. Catch you later.